So everyone, Titan Season 2 Episode 9 Atonement. While it did some good things, and I'm not going to say that I didn't enjoy aspects of this episode, of course not, I definitely did. Honestly, for some other things in the episode, even to the extent of the majority of them in this episode, I would consider it fairly messy. Don't get me wrong though, as I mentioned a second ago, I really enjoyed various elements such as Beastboy finally getting a lot more screen time, because I feel like he's really been way too in the background this season. He doesn't really get the attention he deserves. Things definitely took a turn in this episode which just felt off. As much as I love this show and what they've done with season 2, I just have to call it as I see it. But before we get into all the details of this episode, everyone, be sure to like this video if you do enjoy the Titans content and you're enjoying it week to week, and of course subscribe for every kind of comic book nerdy video and DC Universe video just like this. And also I do have a Discord server, so if you guys want to talk to me about Titans outside all of this, actually over messaging me, join it. It's in a top pin comment down below. So to begin with, I thought that the first quarter of this episode was pretty solid, and to be honest, I was really enjoying it. Things felt very season 2-esque, if you know what I mean, and everything felt like it was gearing up to be an intriguing episode with what I kind of expected to mostly be focused around Gar and maybe Superboy. So at the beginning of this episode, we had Dick Grayson explain to the whole of the new and Titans of old about what really happened with Jericho back then, and I initially felt like things seemed a little bit over the top here. I don't know if any of you kind of felt that as well. I mean, of course, there are some more understandable than others, such as Rose, but everyone apart from Corey and Gar left to do their own thing, even though Corey had to go off and take care of this Blackfire storyline that's been simmering along this whole season. Now, I say over the top initially, just because the way I'm viewing it is that Dick didn't really get Jericho killed. I mean, he didn't kill him like he said he did. Granted that you could easily argue if he didn't go to the church to battle Deathstroke, then Jericho may not have got killed, and probably wouldn't have, but for everyone to just react this way just felt initially quite eccentric. But I do suppose with all of the BS that we've seen unfold this whole season with Deathstroke, causing a lot of trauma to more or less everyone because of what happened in the past, treading all of that up again, and then us learning that Dick actually told the original Titans that Jericho was already dead when he got there, I did concede to the idea of what they were going for in this moment and felt like I suppose there has been enough drama, especially as I said with the original Titans being knee-deep in stuff like this before with Deathstroke, just to the point for them to just up and leave once again. But before we get onto the more juicy stuff in this review and breakdown, let's first talk about the separate storylines this episode for each group that split, and then we'll get onto Gar and Superboy a little bit later down the line in this video as well. But first of all, what was that scene with Rachel and Donna in the car? This was just... what? I'm pretty sure with the way Donna came across when Rachel asked to leave with her, that she didn't really care if she came with her or not. If anything, it just seemed like she was probably a burden to her. Then she uses her powers on Donna as she leaves the car, but why? I mean, was it to stop her from leaving or something? I mean, this scene didn't really make a whole bunch of sense, and this is kind of how I felt like throughout several different points in the episode. I get the idea of what I'm guessing is for Rachel wanting to go off and do her own thing amongst the stress of all of this drama and just how this adds more separation between everyone, but this moment was pretty random with her using her powers on Donna. I mean, it's not like she asked her to come, so I don't know. Then of course we had Hank and Dawn returning back to Wyoming, and this was interesting and fun, but yet again, as a lot of other things in the episode, by the end of it, it kind of felt a bit nonsensical with the story that was given to us. Hank and Dawn went to set their roots back in Wyoming, as I just said, to let their hair down, so to speak, and even took part in karaoke where we saw them both singing Ain't No Mountain High Enough. Initially I found this weird, but then again I was like, you know, I kind of like it. I mean, and it also reminds me of the days when Alan Ritchson, back in the day, was on American Idol, and you can probably find that clip on YouTube right now. That's a little fun fact, you may already know about that. This is when they bumped into Ellis's sister. Now, if you can't remember who Ellis is, he was the kid, I believe, at the beginning of this season who Hank was helping back when they were in Wyoming at the beginning of the season, but Dr. Light killed him, if you guys remember. So she threatens to make their lives here a living hell, and this more or less springs things for them their story in this episode to result in Hank saying that even if they try someplace new other than Wyoming, it's them that brings pain wherever they go, and maybe they're not going to lead good lives without pain together, so maybe let's go our separate ways. Yet Hank's logic after this is to find the nearest bar after leaving Dawn, orders a Coke, but then immediately asks the guy next to him about where he can get the real stuff around here, and I think you know what I mean by that. So I don't know, I mean I get what they're going for here, but it just feels like a bit of a redundant storyline. I mean, it's like, Hank, why not just stay with Dawn? You were preaching about, you know, pain together, but now you're just going to go down a rabbit hole of addiction yet again. So it just feels like a bit of a one-dimensional plot for Hank and Dawn, with this storyline feeling a bit of a tad unnecessary. And just in general here, with like the way this episode was conducting itself in several different storylines and just the vibes now, I'm just a bit concerned about how things will feel after this episode, because with Hank likely going down a dark road now, Rachel out there in the wind, Superboy, and now Dick Grayson, I was really enjoying what Titans had established with this vibe for season 2, and now I'm a bit apprehensive of how well these separate storylines will serve the latter episodes of this season. Now I obviously know what they're going for is to kind of split the Titans up so that they come back together again, kind of more powerful and united than ever, and alongside this will be the forging of Nightwing by the end of this season, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see how the next couple of episodes feel compared to this one. Let's get on to the more of the stuff that I did like, and let's start with Starfire, because I feel like this Starfire and Blackfire continuation this episode was pretty good. Now Corey has ignored her obligations to royalty for this long, it now turns out that Blackfire is wearing the crown, and it has even gone to the extent of circumventing Starfire's entire court. She's essentially fully taken over now, and we actually got to meet Blackfire this episode, but at the loss of Fade, unfortunately, and I was actually really starting to warm to his character, so it was a sad moment to see him go. Now this concluded for now with Blackfire asking Starfire to rule with her, but it's going to be interesting to see how you guys think of Blackfire and her representation in Titans. However, don't judge too harshly if there is any like slanting criticism from people. We literally just saw a hologram of her this episode, so we still have quite a bit to see from Blackfire if anyone's going to be hating on the little that we saw. But it does feel like to me that this will have to continue and be something bigger in season 3. Overall, I'm really enjoying Anna in her Starfire role this season, and I think she really does lead a very strong scene in whatever, well, scene she's in. Now as for Gar, in this episode he had care of the whole entire Titans Tower. But as I mentioned earlier, I really enjoyed seeing more of Beastboy, as I feel like he's unfortunately a character who's been left way out of the season, and it was kind of like the same in season 1. He also had one job, which was to look after Superboy, which saw a montage of funny scenes of him reading to him and, you know, starting the operation to save the Titans and just other little funny elements involved. It felt great seeing more of Joshua Orpin as Superboy as well, and, you know, how these two interacted with each other was just very fun to watch, being that Gar is literally a big kid who loves video games and all things of the like, and Connor is actually a big kid, given that he is like in a giant body but with the mental maturity of like a child. Now I was hoping that we would have got something out of the Bruce Wayne Superman tease, with Dick saying that Connor would probably want to talk with Superman once he woke up, but typically you know, I shouldn't be surprised anymore, and I don't think I was anyway. We were shut down with what I think was Gar cancelling the video chat with Bruce Wayne, but it would be pretty funny if that was actually Bruce Wayne who cancelled the video chat and ghosted on Gar. Now at this point in the episode we had Gar showing Superboy around San Francisco a bit. He even offers him to become a Titan. We even had Beastboy show his powers to Superboy in a kind of very off CGI face scene, but I mean I get what they were going for, but I don't think it came out very well. I don't really know how to properly feel about it yet, even though at the same time I feel like it does kind of make sense with what happened. Connor at this point in the episode is very happy to become a hero, but to the point of where he saw the police arresting this man where he mistook them for hurting him, so he assaults them and quite literally causes them major harm. I mean, to the point where he uses his heat vision to blow up a police car, and you know, there's a guy in there, so there's no way that guy survived. I don't really like the idea of Superboy or any of the Titans, you know, ever killing, so to speak, but with the story provided in this specific scene and just how naive Connor is, you know, it does add up. No matter how many people might say in the comments down below, you know, I hate that Connor's killing. I mean, it does, you know, I don't know, I think it adds up. But now as a result, Gar had literally one job and messed up again, and Superboy is out in the wind, which you can bet has already reached the ears of Mercy Graves, and as a result, Lex Luthor. So I wonder if we're going to get more teasers in that realm towards the back half of this season. So this is where Dick Grayson, after leaving the Titans Tower, visits Jericho's mother, Adeline. Initially, Dick asks for Adeline's forgiveness, and this lives up to the episode name, highlighting Dick Grayson's kind of need for atonement, especially with that ending, which of course we will get onto. But this is when she directs him to the other room, where none other than freaking Slade Wilson, the Deathstroke, the freaking Terminator, is sat there chilling and watching TV. So in this scene, Deathstroke declares that he's won, and all of his plans, you know, that he mentioned to Dr. Light towards the beginning of this season, you know, put the Titans in a crisis, you know, this, that, and the other, I can't remember every line from the top of my head, you know, has come to fruition for him. So in his mind, he is won. And as he put it himself, Dick took his family and cast it into the sea forever, so he took away the Titans from Dick. Even though to me, what Deathstroke fails to see here, especially through those flashbacks we saw last episode, you know, Deathstroke, or should I just say Slade, really is his own worst enemy in terms of his story with his family, but he's just projecting it all onto Dick Grayson. But maybe this will get pointed out in a future episode. But moving swiftly on, this is where he sentences Dick Grayson to live alone, forever knowing that his family lives and breathes somewhere out there in the world. He even says that their war is over, like, you know, finito, for now, and there is no forgiveness here. But here is the cracker. He wants Dick that if he ever puts the Titans back together, even just for a weekend, he will kill every single last one of them. Now, like, where's the clarity behind as to why Deathstroke exiled himself, you know, to the cabin towards the beginning of this season, and then just reacted to Jason Todd appearing on screen saying that the Titans are back? Even though that this war is over for Slade because he's pretty much satisfied in what he's done to Dick Grayson, and you could argue that he doesn't want to kill Dick Grayson in this scene, even though he's actually tried to kill Dick Grayson several times in this season. You're probably seeing screenshots of that battle they had. That ultimately he prefers Dick Grayson to suffer alive rather than end him in death. And now for the rest of the season, as we can all predict, the Titans will come back together, which will bring Deathstroke back to kill them, as per his warning in this scene. And at the very end of this episode, we saw Dick Grayson wanting to get a plane ticket to anywhere far away from people, and then we kind of see him, I thought he was about to have a panic attack, to be honest, but he just crumbles up his plane ticket, assaults a couple of security guards at the airport, or were they police officers? I can't remember. Deliberately to get himself arrested, and you know, I think that's just him seeking the atonement, or should I say the punishment he feels like he deserves, because he's being haunted from the ghosts of the past. Basically, this guilt that he's living with, he feels like he needs some kind of punishment, and maybe getting himself far away from people isn't good enough, and after more reconsideration, he's like, well, I need to be locked up, and that is where things get left. What I would really like to see next episode, no idea if this is going to happen, but like Bruce Wayne, you know, to bail him out, that'd be really cool if we get a scene with him in England in present day, just like episode 1, I believe, instead of all of this flashbacky kind of ghosty stuff with Bruce Wayne. And then, you know, with Bruce kind of counseling him, getting him through the guilt and the atonement, if you will, he then cheers him up a bit, I guess, but also provides him with a Nightwing suit. That would be amazing, because obviously we're getting around that time now where Dick Grayson is going to get that Nightwing suit. Obviously, it's been 9 episodes now. We've got 13. I'm not saying it's going to happen next episode, but we're nearing that time. So in my mind, I'm not a writer or anything, but that would be a cool way to do it. But I think with the way his mind is right now, it would maybe be a bit too much of a rush next episode if he's like, oh, I'm all better now. Now I'm a new person in a new Nightwing suit. That would feel a bit rushed, especially with the vibe they're going for here with how messed up he is right now, to the point where he got himself arrested. But wow, that was probably one of my longest Titans reviews so far. Titans had really remedied its situation of last season. Even though I enjoyed last season, it had improved like 4 or 5 times over, like this season. It really had. It felt like a Titans show, a live action Titans show. But where it went this episode, it really even made me, like, as a huge endorser of this show, and you guys know that, it made me kind of like, I don't know, like, especially with several things that I've mentioned. But, you know, it's not like an absolute ruiner for me. I'm just saying that this, I haven't seen all the episodes yet, but this may very well be my least favorite. And I'm also a bit worried from here on out what things are going to be like, you know, with the Titans being separated. But that being said, it could also be a good thing. I'm looking forward to see what happens with Rose and Jason. What is Rachel doing? And etc, etc. Like, it could be good. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, guys. I'd really appreciate a like on this video as well. If you do remember, it really does help out, especially if you got this far as well. Why not subscribe to the channel? My Discord server is linked in the top pinned comment, as I mentioned earlier. If you're interested in my past couple of videos, they should be appearing around here. But as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you Titans in the next video. Goodbye.